Hi, welcome to AFTV. Right, well, 0-0 against Burnley at home. Now the players go off to Dubai, the Arsenal players, to have a break. I'm furious what I saw today. How was it for you?
Look, I think with Burnley, you know exactly what you're going to get. They're going to come, they're going to set up in a 4-4-2. There's going to be no space between their midfield, between their back four. And I think we set up a little bit differently than we did on Thursday, in terms of on Thursday we had Lokonga and Odegaard playing a little bit closer in that defensive midfield role, and therefore the game was in front of Liverpool's midfield. I think what he tried to do today was get Odegaard and Smith Rowe playing a little bit closer together as two central midfielders to try and get them on the ball. And it didn't really work because I don't think Lokonga had the ability to unlock and play through those players. Hence the reason Odegaard's movement was quite good to try and get in and around. But actually, we still weren't able to get into situations where we could turn their midfield and actually get running at them. When we did, and we got in behind, we were able to get some low crosses, and they put bodies in, and they throw bodies in, and they do that. Putting crosses into the box with no pace against that, into that back, that's what they do. That's their bread and butter. That is their bread and butter.
So why do we not know this? You started at the top of this fan camp. You said you knew how Burnley were going to set up. We probably all knew here how Burnley were going to set up, and we're not beating them. We're not getting a goal against them. We're hitting 14 corners, and that's, like you said, it's bread and butter for Burnley. Why were we not prepared for this game?
I think they were in some respects. I just don't think that, it's whether or not the quality's there to kind of execute some of those plans. One of the set pieces that we had was an excellent set piece. The one that they drilled low, and then I think Smith Rowe or someone. So I think that they had some alternatives for the game, and hopefully if that comes off, then that's that works for you.
You can only do it once.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You can only do it once.
I
think in the first half we tried a few more short corners than we normally would, and then like I said, I think people were saying we were going a bit long. Ramsdale was going a bit longer, but the reality is against the Burnley, you do have to kind of control the ball, and you have to play through the thirds, but you also have to have the players to do it, and But that's where again the issue with Partey from Thursday comes in, because actually Partey's the one that you can get on the ball and can play progressive passes, will break lines, can get Smith Rowe, can get Odegaard into positions where that Burnley midfielder are not able to think. And we had two of their central midfielders on yellow cards very, very, very early in the game, and still weren't able to turn them and create situations where you're asking questions of the referee. It's a challenge. It's a real issue, because my thing coming into this season was one game a week for most of the season, gave Arteta enough time to be able to implement a playing style that he wanted to implement. And we're now months into the season and still not able to kind of take these sorts of games where we know that those are the situations that we're going to do. I keep hearing talk about people saying about Chambers can go and play in central midfield. Well, Chambers isn't going to do the same thing. Playing central midfield for Fulham, a Fulham side that get relegated, is a little bit different than playing for an Arsenal side that want to get on the ball, want to dictate the ball, want to bring people into play, want to have to have drive, have to have all of that sort of. And that's not his style. I think he's a very good cover right back. And that's the challenge. I said on Thursday, it's a massive 10 or 11 days, and we're a few days in now, further than that, and we still haven't progressed. So there's a real issue for me. One of the issues that we now have is obviously, numbers-wise, midfield is okay after this game. Quality-wise, it still isn't.
Yeah.
So it's all well and good. We've got a situation where Xhaka's back, Partey's back, Nenny will be back. But in terms of quality, you're still looking at it going.
Do you upgrade on that position in this January window? Do you look for that, or is it still for you? Or I don't know if it's for you for a striker, the main priority, or do you upgrade in that midfield?
I think you need to be bold and try and upgrade both. I think that one of the things that you probably, and a few people have said it, is you go into this period and you've got to be thinking weeks in advance. Looking at your schedule in January, potential Carabao Cup semi-final, FA Cup, thinking that you're going to get into the third and fourth, fifth round, and you plan for that. The big games that we had, and you've got to be sitting there saying we need to make sure we've got numbers in those areas and in the squad for that. There are a number of players. If you look at the list of players that are available on free transfers at the end of the season, actually you need to start putting pressure on some of those. And we've got some ourselves, and that's the challenge. People like Nketiah, Lacazette, Chambers, all these people that we know are likely to be leaving at the end of the season. They're don't get me wrong, I'm sure they're model professionals. but they are looking elsewhere. And actually, are there some players that whose contracts are up at the end of the season? Frank Kesse, a few other people like that, who you could be looking at and going, actually, they're an improvement on what we have. And in some respects, similar, we spoke about the Kolasinac situation. Sometimes you have to be ruthless. And where we've ripped up his contract or terminated his contract and said, "Off you go, fella," maybe we just need to be doing that with a few other people and just saying, actually, look, the summer rebuild starts now. We need to start being bold. We need to start being brave. We can't come to situations and have games like this. On our worst day, we should be beating Burnley 2 or 3-0. On our worst day, we should be beating Burnley 2 or 3-0. And to come there and we've also if we were still playing now, I don't know what time it is now. It's probably 3 hours after the game, and we still would not have scored, and we'd have still been doing the same thing. And like I said, one game a week for most of the season. Not in Europe, so you're not always in match preparation. You've actually got time to sit down over the course of a week and really work on a style, and develop a style of play. And in some respects, we're seeing it. But we spoke about the situation about overusing people like Saka. When we had other young players that came through and really made their mark on this club, Fabregas and those sorts of players, they had massive players in the dressing room that they were around. They had really big leaders. When Fabregas come through, we still had Vieira, we still had Gilberto Silva, we still had big names like that. And and the players that are coming in now, you're looking at them going, who are the people that they look up to? Who are the people that they look up to say, that's who I want to model my career on. That's the person that I want to follow. That's the person whose professionalism I want to that person's leading by example. We talk about Oba, and if the disciplinary issues that we hear, we hear rumours of are true, he's not the person that they should be looking up to in terms of trying to set an example. So you have to find those people, and they exist. And sometimes they're not glamorous signings. Then you could throw names about people that are not glamorous signings, but there's got to be something, and this is where, in a sense, I have a little bit of respect for Arteta, because I think he's trying to change the culture. And anybody that's worked in an organisation, regardless of whether it's a football club or just a job, that works under poor leadership or works with poor culture, knows how difficult it is to change that. And that's not a 3-month process, it's not a 2-month, it's not a 6, it takes years. It takes years. It takes absolute years. And in that respect, I have to have a bit of credit to what he's trying to do, because he's kind of set his stall. Don't get me wrong, he's had some wrong ones. Like he had a Willian one where he wasn't wasn't consistent with that, and again we spoke about Pepe and how he didn't deal with those situations. But I think there's just something about understanding what he's trying to do, and I think that's the justification for them wanting to give him a 2-year contract, because they can kind of see some of those things into fruition. And as fans, we want results. We wanted results yesterday.